to make sense of the way you're supposed to think about the ideas, not just the ideas themselves.
Yes.
Are you ordering these things? Are you comparing them? Are you showing causal relationships? Are you describing something?
Dr. Cobb, are you gonna?
Oh, I was just thinking that in my mind, the purpose of providing learners with a bunch of different graphic organizers is so that they can begin to construct those structures in their heads so that they don't need them anymore, so that they automatically think about, oh, this cause and effect. Yeah, I see that happening
Right.
here. Or compare and contrast. Yeah, I see how that's happening in this text or in this information or in this experiment, right? So that it's not, so that it goes from something external to something internal is always
Right.
my goal with the advanced organizers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think advanced organizers can have multiple purposes, one of those being attention, kind of like what Kristen was talking about, and then, yeah. So, okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a study that I found that used information processing theory kind of as their framework from what they were doing. So Brown, 2015, she starts her article by talking about essentially the three phases of IPT. We've gone over these kind of already, but sensory memory, leading to working memory, and then long-term memory. But she talks about, there are two roadblocks to getting information, so new information that we're trying to encode and store to be able to be retrieved. There are two roadblocks from getting information from this area, the sensory memory, working memory, to this long-term memory, right? Because long-term memory is what we need in order to actually be able to retrieve something, recall it, and actually use it. And these two roadblocks are perception and attention. So we've kind of been talking about attention as far as like with graphic organizers, the spotlight, but I couldn't resist including one more Sherlock clip, and I think Sherlock is the like quintessential like example of like perception to the max. Like he perceives things that no one else can see. He attends to things that no one else can really like make meaning of and things like that. And so I want to show this brief clip of basically if we could all perceive and attend to things like Sherlock, then our lives would be, I think, a little bit easier. So here he is.
Okay, you've got questions.
Yeah, where are we going?
Crime scene. Next.
Who are you? What do you do?
What do you think?
I'm saying private detective.
But
The police don't go to private detectives.
I'm a consulting detective. Only one in the world that invented the
What
job.
does that mean?
It means when the police are out of their depth, which is always, they consult me.
The police don't consult amateurs.
When I met you for the first time yesterday, I said Afghanistan or Iraq. You looked surprised.
How did you know?
I didn't know, I saw. Your neck up the way you hold yourself says military. In your conversations, you entered the room.
Different from my name?
Said trained in bar, so army doctor, obvious. Your face is tanned. With no tan above the wrists. You've been abroad but not sunbathing. Your lips really bad when you walk. You don't ask for a chair and you stand like you've forgotten about it. So he's partly psychosomatic. That says the original circumstances of the injury were traumatic. Wounded in action then. Wounded in action, suntan, Afghanistan or Iraq.
You said I had a therapist.
You're psychosomatic, look, of course you've got a therapist. And there's your brother. Your phone's expensive, email-enabled MP3 player. Are you looking for a flat share? You wouldn't waste money on this. It's a gift, though. Scratches not one, many over time. It's been in the same pocket as keys and coins, and that's it. Next people will treat as one luxury item like this. So, previous owner. Next bit's easy, you know it already.
The engraving.
Harry Watson, clearly a family member who's given you his old phone. Not your father, this is a young man's gadget. Could be a cousin, but you're a war hero who can't find a place to live. Unlikely you've got an extended family, certainly not one you're close to. So, brother, it is. Now, Clara. Who's Clara? 3 cases says there's a romantic attachment. Expensive phone says wife, not girlfriend. She's given it to him recently. This one is only 6 months old. Marriage in trouble then. 6 months old, he's just given it away. If she'd left him, he would have kept it. People do sentiment. No, he wanted rid of it. He left her. He gave the phone to you. That says he wants you to stay in touch. You're looking for cheap accommodation. And you're not going to your brother for help. It says you've got problems with him. Maybe you liked his wife, maybe you don't like his drinking.
How can you possibly know about the drinking?
Shot in the dark, good one though. Power connection tell you the scuff marks are on the edge of it. Every night he goes to plug it into charge, but his hands are shaking. You never see those marks on a sober man's bone, never see a drunk's without. There you go, so you were right.
I was right. Right about what?
The police don't consult amateurs.
That was amazing.
So, I love that clip, really just because I think it does a good job of showing, like, how can somebody perceive, like, all of those things at once. Like, this isn't really realistic from, like, an instructional standpoint to say, like, okay, we have to teach all of our students to think like Sherlock Holmes, although there are books that do that. How to Think Like Sherlock Holmes is an actual book I bought while my wife and I were in New York City. It caught my eye. I was like, hey, that looks interesting, and I like Sherlock. So anyway, if anybody wants to look at it, it's interesting. It has some ideas about creating mind palaces and things like that.
Does it
But
work?
I haven't gotten deep enough into it to have, like, honestly, like, I started trying to do some things like numbering like 0 through 100 and like making mental